Would it be Ryan the Great? And today we are talking the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. They got the win over the Dallas Cowboys in a very weird Thursday night football game. There was some shenanigans going on between Prescott and Jalen Carter before even the first offensive play. And then there was a weather delay in the third quarter, and it hasn't rained in Philadelphia since then. Just a very, very weird game on Thursday. And I said I was going to post this video today, which is Saturday. I came up with my promise. The soccer game against Roman Catholic actually did get canceled, but then I ended up having to go somewhere else. So we move. It's all right. But so we're going to do this video. Top 5 NFL teams going to come out on Tuesday. We're back at that. But for anybody that doesn't know, the reactions to these Eagles videos, if you didn't watch my preview video, we just go through every single position, talk about how they did. That includes the coaching. And I forgot my bottom line in the preview video. I made sure to put it in to the reaction video. So let's get right into it. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure to subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother in the great blogs. Make sure to subscribe to my second channel, Around the Combat Great. Excuse me, gee, my name. Make sure you guys go follow me on X or RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram at Ryan Sully Sports Media. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the video. So, as you know, we always start off with the Eagles, their offense, and their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. This was a very solid performance for Hurts, as I thought he used the time in the pocket, delivered some very nice throws. One to Dotson was probably the best throw of the evening. One of the best throws you'll ever see from Jalen Hurts. Just an incredible ball around 50 yards down the field. He escaped the pocket when needed. While he isn't the fastest quarterback in the NFL, definitely one of the shiftiest, as you saw. From the 2 touchdowns he scored. Also one of the highest IQs for a quarterback in the NFL. You saw, even on the last play of the game. Well, not the last play, but the last official play before the kneels. He just juked one guy, got the first down, slid, and then obviously didn't take. I don't think he took any hits throughout the game either, except for the times he got sacked. But overall, when he was running, I don't think he got hit. So that's good for Hurts. Obviously, he's been getting hurt, no pun intended, over the past couple of seasons. With getting hit, so his ability to not get hit in this game, especially being the fact that it's week 1, definitely a great sign there for him throughout for what we can hope to see over the course of the season. I thought that this was a great game for Hurts, just in exploiting the stuff that you had. He had time in the pocket. When he didn't find anybody, he knew he had the ability to tuck in and run, get to the outside and do that. He was able to do it. When he did have time, his time throw wasn't great, but he still was able to find receivers. He just exploited the fact that the Cowboys' defensive line was just not going to get to him for the most part, when Dickerson was in there. So just an incredible game from Jalen Hurts, and you got to give him credit where credit is due. Obviously, our running back, Saquon Barkley. I mean, this game proved to me that Saquon's the best player in the NFL. I mean, his jab steps, I guess you should say they were, and then he makes a move, like a spin move or a juke. You don't know which way he's going. Absolutely incredible. I mean, he stiff-armed a dude, put him right on his you-know-what. His ability to just run through guys, I mean, he can either just make a move, or if he doesn't feel like it, he just runs through you. It is just absolutely stupid what he can do. And then he was doing a really great job with the improvising on runs. Most running backs just take the gap that they're assigned to run in, no matter what. But Saquon has that ability. I assume the coaches will let him have that ability. And he also knows he has the ability to figure it out. There were times where the Cowboys were just 5 yards in the backfield on some of on the outside runs, and then he would just in 0.5 seconds just reverse field and then just go the other way. And then you would end up gaining yards instead of losing yards. So, I mean, it was just ridiculous what he was doing this game. I don't think people give him enough credit for, what he actually did. A lot of people were just talking about, the weirdness of this game. But Saquon played really, really great. I know in the second half he got stopped in the backfield a couple times, but when you have the entire Cowboys defense running at you, I mean, the calls are to run it up the gut and to kill time. What do you really want him to do? There's not much that you can do in that point. So, once again, great game for Saquon. I think he's the best player in the NFL as we speak. Anyway, moving on to wide receivers, A.J. Brown. Obviously, it wasn't a great game, but I truly think he was being used as a decoy in this game. They would move him in motion. They would give him his own side of the field to draw those double teams, and then Jalen wouldn't even have him as his first read. So it just puts in my mind that it wasn't that Jalen wasn't getting him the football. It just put in my mind that he probably wasn't going to be used that much in this game. Now, obviously, he had the one catch at the end. That was honestly, it was a bit embarrassing, if I'm being honest with you. One catch for 5 yards. But obviously, a lot of this is fantasy football motivated, that, he had put up however many points he did. And I understand that, trust me, because, if that happened to me, I would be absolutely livid. I was thinking about drafting A.J. Brown in my one league, but then he got taken like the pick before, so I don't know if I'm happy about that or not. But anyway, I just don't think that he was really being game planned with by the offense in this game. Now, why do you want to open the playbook that much? It makes sense, but it's also disappointing at the same time. And we know Jalen can get the ball to A.J. Brown every time that every time that we think there's tension. That Brown's upset that he's not getting the football. Every time the media hypes it up, Jalen gets him the ball the next game, and everybody's like, "Oh, okay, it's over now." So there's no doubt that Jalen Hurts can get him the football, and we know he can. We know he's a great player. I think it's just I just think it's fantasy football motivated this week. Anyway, Devontae Smith, I like using him on screens. He looked very slippery in this game. Was able to break tackles. Got a couple first downs off those. The only complaint I really had about him in this game was that he would make the catch, and then he would spin backwards, and then he would go up the middle, like take the sideline. That's what you're supposed to do. That's really the only complaint I had about him in this game. His routes were nice. He caught the football. Did everything he was supposed to do. That was just really very odd by Devontae Smith. His blocking has gotten a lot better too. There were some times he was had to block on their screens, and he was doing a really good job with his blocks. So I think that's something he worked on in the offseason. If he did, I'm going to be very, very happy about it, because he has been I wouldn't say really bad, but definitely a below average blocker in his first few seasons in the NFL. So I'm very happy if he's worked on that. Dotson, if he's good for 150-yard catch down the field per game, you're not going to hear too many complaints from me. And he did have one curl over the middle, but it was like on 3rd and long or whatever, so it didn't really matter. But if he's at a full camp, and now I think he can be a real contributor to this Eagles team. So yeah, if he's going to be that deep ball threat, we use him once or twice a game for that. You're not going to hear anything from me as long as the pass is completed. Moving on to Goddard. Goddard seemed to be a guy on the check down, but that seemed to be most of the game plan for today. Was used a lot on curls over the middle, and they expected him to get yards after the catch, which is something I've been stressing over the past couple of seasons, that he is really good. Or not really. Well, yeah, I was going on my second season saying that. We're letting him do that. We're letting him catch the ball, 5-yard curl. He tries to run for an extra 5, get that first down. It seemed like they were giving him the ability to do that today. I was happy with it. I can't really complain that much. Obviously we want to try and open up his route tree a little bit more, because we know what he can do with that. But I didn't really think it was that bad. I thought he played a pretty decent game, in my opinion. He's also on my fantasy team, so the fact that he didn't catch a touchdown was disappointing. But, what are you going to do? Offensive line, overall solid performance. Hurts had a lot of time in the pocket. Mailata did get beat a couple times, but what are you going to do? I am upset about Dickerson. I said before the game, if he's injured, don't play him. It seemed like he got injured again with his back. Credit to him. He was trying to stay in the game even after he was limping. But yeah, I've experienced back issues, in the time playing football. And it hurts it's bad. Like, it feels like you're paralyzed when your back is hurting you, like, on the field. So I get what he's trying to say. Hopefully it's just like jammed and it'll help out. It'll get all fixed out. But I was very reluctant to play him in week 1. And they put him in there. He played good, but then he got hurt again. So, I'm not happy about it. But overall, solid performance from the offensive line. Hopefully Dickerson's okay. Speaking of the offense, Dan Sermon out for the season now with a torn patella. He's just always hurt, man. He's a good fullback, don't get me wrong. He can block on the second level and take out guys that get through on the first level. But, I don't know. I don't know, dude. I'm upset about it. They got to find someone to fill that position. Maybe they'll sign somebody. I'm not too sure. I was very upset about it, though. I was very sad to see it. I like Van Sermon, too. Anyway, getting into our defense and our defensive line, I mean, you got to take the quarterback down, dude. I counted like 4 or 5 times where they would have him wrapped up and he wouldn't go to the ground. Now, maybe that's Dak's thing or that's just the Eagles' not ability to not take him down. It was very poor, the tackling from the defensive line in this game. And once we get into teams that are better, when it comes to taking advantage of the Eagles' mistakes, once we get in, the farther weeks, teams are going to be ready to go. And, once you make a mistake, teams are going to take advantage of it. And yeah, I mean, it just wasn't great. And then obviously when Carter got thrown out, the run game started to open up. So, if Jalen Carter would have made it all easier. Now, speaking of Jalen Carter, that comes to the tackling part too. When it comes to Prescott, he probably would have had a sack or two. But anyway, I do want to talk about this Carter incident because it's weird. Like, it's very weird. Listen, I think everybody's wrong in this situation. I think that Prescott obviously spit at his feet. And then, like, the second after, he looked up at him and was like, he raised his eyebrows and he was like, oh, hey, I was like, obviously, like, and what we say, and us 17, 16-year-old kids say, rage baiting. So, yeah, he shouldn't have done that. Prescott knew what he was doing. And then Carter should have kept his control. He should have just either said something back. He could have just talked. He didn't have to walk up to him. And I think that's the problem. Because Carter, initially walked up to Prescott first, and then Prescott went through the O-line and then started to talk to him. Carter spits at him. He gets ejected. So Prescott knew what he was doing. It was so obvious. If he tries to deny that, I didn't really hear his comments on it. I might have, but I forget what he said. Prescott knew what he was doing. Like, come on. But Carter obviously shouldn't have spit on him. Why? Like, that's just stupid. Now, I think if the NFL didn't put a big thing on the, sportsmanship thing, then he probably wouldn't have been thrown out. Maybe he would have. I'm not sure, because obviously spitting on a guy, first off, that's disgusting. Second off, that's just one of the biggest signs of disrespect ever. Yeah, so it wasn't good. It just was stupid. I think if we didn't know that Dak spit near him first, and Dak wasn't trying to get a rise out of him, then Carter might have been suspended. But I think the fact that we know that Prescott did that and he kind of started it, then I think that Carter might just get a fine. If he's suspended, I think that's kind of ridiculous. The NFL will just be making an example out of him at that point, which obviously I don't want to see, and I don't really think a lot of people want to see. I think we get it after this game that you can't say anything, you can't do anything when it comes to celebration. Or not celebration, but even just trash talk in general. Evidence of the Nolan Smith thing. Made a tackle in the backfield and then taunted, flexed, and then he talked down a little bit and they threw a penalty. Everybody does that. Everybody talks or flexes when they when they get a tackle in the backfield or a sack or something. That was stupid as well. Speaking of Nolan Smith, he got freaking choked and there was no penalty called. And Mailata did get away with a penalty as well. But overall, I don't think the refs did a good job in this game. But anyway, getting back to Jalen Carter, at the end of the day, he shouldn't be suspended. Should he get a fine? Probably. He's the one who took it too far. Is Prescott going to get a fine? Probably not. If he does, I would be kind of surprised because he didn't actually spit on Carter. You could tell his head was more tilted towards the ground. But he knew what he was doing. But you can't prove that, though. So you only can do with what you actually saw. You can't just fine people based off assumption. So it is what it is. As long as you don't get suspended, I don't care. The Eagles could pay for it because depending on what they think of the incident, he's good for the money, whatever they fine him. It's not going to matter to him. But anyway, moving on to our linebackers. Blunt was great as always. Read a couple of plays, made some tackles in the backfield, prevented more yards to gain, something that Blunt always does. He just played how he always does. Makes a tackle immediately after the catch, prevents yards after the catch, prevents any more yards that could be gained. So just a great game by Baum. Still one of the best tacklers, if not the best tackler at the off-ball linebacker spot in the NFL. Campbell with a key pass deflection in the red zone. I said I wanted him to drop in coverage and take on Ferguson. I think Baum took on that role a little bit more. I'm not mad about it, but I think once Campbell gets into it, he might take on that role of guarding the tight ends. But he had a key pass deflection, which probably prevented a touchdown. Very happy for him. Love to see it because I wanted to see him drop in coverage in this game. Now we just got to wait for Nakobe Dean to come back. We know what Baum and Campbell can do. We know that they're pretty good. Once Nakobe Dean gets back, you add in some more talent. Now, I don't know when that's going to be, but you can tell that these guys are going to be the ones to hold it down. Getting into our defensive backs, Mitchell played a really good game on Pickens. Was very aggressive with him. I felt that there was marginal contact for the most part. It was just a very aggressive game. That was kind of one of the only points where the refs actually let him play. But no one could guard CeeDee Lamb. No one could guard him out of his break. It seemed like that the Eagles were just trying to guess his routes a lot, especially Adoree Jackson. He always thought that Lamb was going to take the inside. He would always break to the outside. That was kind of sad. Speaking of Jackson, just in hindsight, you can't really blame him. After the game, you can't really blame him because your first game, you're supposed to be the number 2 corner. They signed you with CeeDee Lamb. Come on. It wasn't a great game overall. I thought that his fundamentals were pretty bad. Just his baseball turns were just that was probably the worst part of his game. I thought that Quinyon did good on Pickens. Obviously, Jackson, there wasn't much he could do against CeeDee Lamb. We saw him guard Jamar Chase in the preseason. That was ugly. So hopefully, going forward, we give Jackson the easier matchup. But maybe Kaylee Ringo will get some time in there. Or maybe we'll just sign somebody. Because we did sign Zadarius Smith. I forgot to bring that up. Probably a much-needed depth piece for the defensive line because with Carter getting thrown out, there wasn't much depth on the defensive line, and guys were playing 90% of the snaps, and that's not that great. So yeah, but also shout out. I don't know why I'm talking about this in the DB section, but shout out Byron Young. Had a really nice swim move, got a tackle in the backfield, or near the backfield, whatever it was. So shout out to him. I forgot to bring that up in the defensive line section. But anyway, so DeJean, he played all right. There wasn't really much to it. Then the ball didn't get thrown that much to his side, which is good. There's no complaints about it, but he did get burned on the last CeeDee Lamb one where he dropped the football. I don't know if it was dropped the football. It was a hard catch to make. I think that's it for the corners. Now getting into the safeties. Blankenship, Sidney Brown got hurt again. It seemed like he went back in there, so he was fine, but he's always hurt. I'm a big Sidney Brown fan, but come on. Blankenship, once again, he played all right. Mukaba, not a bad game either. The ball, you didn't really see the ball get thrown their way, but Blankenship got penalized for the hit on Ferguson in the end zone. That was dumb. I know it led to the fumble, but still, that still was a bad penalty. Thankfully, it went the Eagles' way. Coaching-wise, I like the game plan of checkdowns and running the football because of the fact of what I wanted to do before the game, which was hold the ball on offense, don't give the Cowboys offense a chance to go on the field. And our game plan kind of helped us control the game for the most part. Obviously, the Cowboys' offense was scoring, but we kept up with them, and then the defense finally came through a couple of times, which led to our offense just barely sneaking away with the win. So a good game plan offensively. Defense, you obviously wanted to focus on the secondary. And the pass rush was getting home, which the front 4 guys, but they just weren't making the tackle. So there's nothing Vic Fangio can do about that one. So what are you going to do? Bottom line, I don't think this game proved much. Obviously, it's only week 1, but I just don't think that this game proved much for the Philadelphia Eagles. The only thing it proved to me was that Saquon's the best player in the NFL. But I think that's something we already knew and something that the players already voted on. The Eagles clearly lost the momentum after the weather delay. So you got to ask the question, would they have poured it on and just kept on scoring with the momentum that they previously had before the weather delay if that weather delay never happened? So you got to ask that question, would the Eagles have actually just started to take over if that weather delay didn't happen? My answer, probably. We'll never know, though. So yeah. That'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe with the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother Living Great Blogs. Make sure you guys go subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Combat Great. Make sure you guys go follow me at X Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me on TikTok at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram at Ryan the Sully Sports Media. And as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.